One of the first things we did was to take that plan, the Vision 2020 plan, out to the buildings, have the principals meet with their teachers and talk about the plan in general. The second thing we did was we put together actually a district-wide committee who part of their effort is to develop an implementation plan that is going to expand over time. We're looking out right now probably about for the next 4 or 5 years, but understanding technology changes so quickly that may need to be monitored and adapted on a yearly basis, if you will. From there, we also develop at each building different technology teams made up of staff members, mostly teachers, but staff members, and really started to take a look at how can we start to implement the technology into our everyday, not just instruction, but the culture of how school works, how kids learn. On top of that, we had to make sure we had a plan to bring the necessary hardware and infrastructure in. So this summer after Vision 2020 was created and approved by the board, we went through an extensive infrastructure retrofit to make sure we had the wireless capability we needed in the buildings, the proper speed for the network to flow, and so forth. So we had a group of folks working on that if we are really going to put technology into the schools as a daily tool for everyone to use, then we have to make sure it works, and it works well.
When we were looking at taking all of those Vision 2020 action plans that the original committee had come up with and kind of taking those and seeing how can we put them into action, as the tech supervisor, the first thing that I did was make sure that each of our buildings, with the help of the building principals, that we had some tech committees in the buildings so that we were able to get feedback from the staff on where they felt we currently were with technology, and then also where we wanted to go, so that we could kind of broaden that stakeholder group a little bit and also have that ownership back at the building level with that. We also formed a district technology committee that was made up from representatives then of all of the building committees, as well as people from the community, and we also had a parent group that was working with us, a parent member that was working with us in that as well. And really, I think one of the first steps that we did as a committee then is we saw that while there was a separate technology piece to Vision 2020, we had multiple goals, and technology could actually be a way to help accomplish those. The technology committees at each of the buildings were really big, because that's where we really talked about not just where we are, but where do we want to be, and not in a sense of what technology do you want to have in the building. I approached it very much of what is it that you would like to be able to do? You know, what would you like to do? How can technology help you to accomplish that goal? So right from the beginning, we focused on the learning as opposed to the technology, and I think that that's a big component of the success that we've been seeing throughout the district.
One of the other things that we've done, and our school board's been extremely supportive, is we have expanded our technology staff. So about 4 years ago, if you walked in the district, we had one technology coordinator and I believe 2 technicians. Today we have a supervisor of technology, and she supervises a technology coordinator who makes sure the infrastructure is working the way it should. We now have 3 technicians that are out there, so we're trying to give people the supports they need. So if a teacher comes in and they have something set up in the classroom they want to do, and all of a sudden they can't get on the internet, we want to be able to respond to that very quickly and make sure that things are working properly. If you're going to bring technology in, you can't just say, here, teachers, go get them, you know, good luck with this technology. You had to provide professional development. So I remember the first summer when we made sure all the high school teachers and most of the middle school teachers had a laptop to use for the next year. One of the deals was they had to come in for a day, or actually it was 2 days the first summer of in-service and training, how to use the laptop, how to use the software. We gave them an overview. So those were the types of things that we had to do in order to make sure that vision was going to become a reality. So it had to be proper budgeting, planning the amount of resources you need to make the vision happen, making sure that professional development was paramount. And that was one of the things my principals constantly harped back at me on. That look, if we're going to do this, we have to make sure we're giving the teachers the support and the training they need. I really think the go-between from the vision, from when it was created and approved by the board, to how it was actually implemented, I think the bridge to that really was the administrative team putting things together and making sure all the structures were in place and making sure we were talking to the right people, the teachers, and the folks from Apple Computer and so forth. How are we going to make this all happen? How are we going to make it work and make sure people are supported?
We kind of looked at some of those goals, or sub-goals, I call them, under each of the, I think there's 7 or 8 major goals now. We kind of looked at those and said, well, which of these can we start with in the first year? We've got short-range goals, medium-range goals, and long-term goals. So which can we start on right now? And then each year we meet as an administrative team, again, to look at how we've done in the previous year in terms of the action plans that we've developed and how we've progressed on those, and also in the next year in terms of which ones do we need to now attack new in order to really get to where we want to be in the year 2020.
The most important thing was what we did in my building was just getting that teacher leadership and giving them whatever training they wanted, whatever materials they want. They're very good at finding the websites. They like the conferences. It's their thing. And I won't even tell you it's just the new teachers. Sometimes you think, oh, it's just the new teachers. I have a couple teachers just a couple years away from retirement, and to see them get so excited about technology and jump in what is so cool. And they have so much respect among their peers that they're listened to. So I think that was a huge piece. When then we moved on to everyone is going to have this, and this year is where we are. Every academic teacher is now going to have a whiteboard. They are more comfortable with it because they know the teacher next door or across the hall will be able to step in and help.
Once some classroom teachers not only had their own laptop for their own use, but also a set of laptops for student use, and started to look at how the students could use those laptops to enhance their own learning, that became contagious. And all of a sudden we had more and more teachers who were wanting to get their hands on the laptop cart. And we had purchased one for the library that could be checked out. The problem was it was never available to certain people because some people were monopolizing it. So that became somewhat of a good problem to have.